Southern California is the land of diverse American dreams. A place where the laid-back lifestyle of surf and sun meets the sizzle and pizzazz of Hollywood. But two things Californians agree on are a love of the automobile and sports. The more extreme, the better. On Grand Prix weekend in Long Beach, they get both in one. 28 years ago, the first Long Beach street race was a roll of the dice, an artistic success, but a financial long shot. Then Formula One focused the eyes of the sports world on the event, and racing icon Mario Andretti won it. In the 1980s, the kart champ cars arrived, and Mario won again for Newman Haas Racing. Long Beach was on its way. This weekend, the kart boys are back in town, and once again, Newman Haas is leading the way. Cristiano D'Amata and Christian Fittipaldi are 1-2 on the charts. But it's time to set the grid, and we'll see if D'Amata is the man in Long Beach.
With the world-famous Queen Mary in the background, welcome to day number 2 of qualifying for the Kart FedEx Championship Series and to its signature event, the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Hello everyone, I'm Derek Daly and welcome to Southern California sunshine on a place we call the beach. Now, there's about 200,000 people flow in here every year over 3 days to witness these Champ Cars performance. If you were not with us yesterday, you missed some great stuff. Wait till you see the camera that we have inside Paul Tracy's helmet right by his left eyeball. You can't get closer to driving a racing car. Also, I got on the concrete wall at the hairpin, and if I got any closer, I'd have been changing gears. Local interest is fueled by Jimmy Vasser. This morning, he got into a spare car, did second fastest time, and of course the crowd erupted down the front straight here. Of course, he's from Southern California boy. But the big news here, of course, is Cristiano D'Amata. With more on that story, let's go down to Calvin Fish. Calvin?
Well, Derek, Cristiano D'Amata is going for his 4th consecutive victory here at Long Beach this weekend, and he's also looking at the fact that he claimed the provisional pole yesterday, and very importantly, that bonus point that goes along with it. And each day you sense from Cristiano that his confidence is growing, and every time he hits the racetrack, he now expects to be the fastest man out there, and I think it's very important today that someone steps up and kind of knocks him off his stride a little bit, otherwise he could go on a championship charge, similar to what we saw with Alex Zanardi and Nigel Mansell back in the 90s, where a very confident driver almost proves to be unbeatable. But one team that certainly put some pressure on the Newman Haas boys yesterday was Team Rahal. For more on their story, let's nip down pit lane and see Scott Pruitt.
Thanks, Calvin, and that's exactly right. Jimmy is the man here. He's the hometown boy. He's run strong. Unfortunately, had a little bit of bad luck in Mexico on the first lap, but here, second quick this morning in his backup car, has made a decision to run that backup car. Now, you got to remember, if he does go to his backup car, which he's going to have to wipe out the time from yesterday. So he will be starting with a clean slate as we start out into the qualifying session. The other thing is, don't forget, he won this race in '96, had a great off-season testing, was very fast everywhere. So we're looking for big things this weekend from Jimmy Vasser. Derek?
Thanks, Scott. Now, the great names of American motorsports have all raced here. Al Unser Jr. won this race 6 times, but the current dynasty is definitely led by the Andretti family. Just have a look at this here. Mario won 4 times, including Formula One with Team Lotus in 1977, when, of course, the Long Beach Grand Prix was the U.S. Grand Prix for Formula One. Look at Michael's first race win came here. John is on the list. Jeff is on the list. But you know what? Down here in Michael's pit, things are not that rosy this weekend. He was 16th fastest yesterday. I spoke to him last night. In fact, we had him live last night. He said they found the problem. This morning, he was 18th fastest, so it's questionable whether they did find the problem with Michael Andretti's car or not. But lo and behold, it's been a struggle so far here for the Andrettis. We hope it will change. But the weekend promo goes something like this. Tomorrow, the Toyota Atlantics from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time is on speed. And then the Kart Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach race is 3:30 p.m. to 6 Eastern Time, live on Fox Network. A replay will also be on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern on Speed. So we will be back for more from the Southern California sunshine at a place called The Beach. The streets, qualifying about to start. Today's live coverage of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach is brought to you by Toyota. Get the feeling. And by FedEx, proud sponsor of the Kart FedEx Championship Series. Welcome back, everybody, to the streets of Long Beach. Let's take a quick look at the top 10 qualifiers as of the first 1 hour session that went on yesterday. On the pole, provisionally, we have Cristiano D'Amata with his teammate, Christian Fittipaldi, right beside him. They were pretty much dominant most of the session. Jimmy Vasser is in P3, and he may even have a faster car today. His teammate, Michel Jourdain, right beside him. Team Ganassi's Bruno Junqueira, who was the fastest man this morning, lines up in P5 as of yesterday. Then we have Tony Kanaan, Alex Tagliani, who tagged the wall yesterday late in the session. Kenny Brack, little bit of a struggle, but he is in the top 10. Then we have Paul Tracy and Tora Takagi rounds out that top 10. That was a very good run for Tora Takagi. Now, let me just show you a story here. For those of you who get Sports Illustrated, please take a look at what I think is a very moving and emotional story inside. Alex Zanardi, of course, one of his famous victories was here at Long Beach, one of his many famous victories. Alex Zanardi, as you all know, lost both his legs in a Champ Car race in Germany last year. He is fighting to get himself back to reasonable fitness. Believe it or not, Alex had agreed to maybe come back to Long Beach to see many of his friends who have sent him great wishes over these very difficult times. Not too long ago, he said, you know what? I'm just not ready to face it yet. And you know what, Alex? We understand perfectly, but we're all behind you, waiting to see you again back at the racetrack. Fellas, okay, let's go on upstairs now to Bob Varsha, and a man who just finished a race at the Long Beach Grand Prix. I don't think he's going to want to tell us about it, though. Tommy Kendall.
Derek, he's not going to get off that easily. Hello again, everyone. Beautiful sunshine, great day here in Long Beach. I'm Bob Varsha. Now, for 2 races here on Speed Channel, we've been yapping on about the new kart qualifying rules. Well, we have a new Speed Channel rule for today's broadcast. The winner of the Toyota Pro Celebrity Race gets to be the announcer for the second qualifying show. Now, unfortunately, the winner, Danica Patrick, was unavailable, so the man she beat, Tommy Kendall, will have to stand in for her today. TK.
First loser is here. You had to go there, and I need it tattooed right here. Any ribbing I get, I deserve, because Danica was quick and ran a good race. I made a little bit of a mistake, and I got up next to her, and she started to squeeze me over, and anybody who's watched me race before knows what comes next. She's going to wreck. Well, I've gone soft in my old age, and I let her off the hook, and I never saw her again.
Your career is over. Good thing you're working television. Now let's talk about those qualifying rules a little bit. Once again, the field will be going out as one. Each driver will get 15 laps in 45 minutes of guaranteed green flag time in the session. As we learned yesterday, that can be a factor as the day goes on. The driver's fast time in either session will determine his spot on the grid, but a new rule in place beginning here in Long Beach dictates that the second day fast qualifier is also guaranteed a spot on the front row. Recall in our season opener in Mexico, it was very rainy and slow on the second day, thus the fast 2 men on Friday became the front row. That's no longer the case. 2 championship points, 2 guaranteed front row spots. One of those points and front row starting position will be set today. But frankly, Tommy, today's quick man is probably going to be on pole.
And there is a little wrinkle to that. If the same guy is quickest both days, the second front row spot goes to the second quickest time. So street courses tend to get quicker as we go along. So I expect to be the top man today to be on the pole.
And the question is, will it once again be Cristiano D'Amata or perhaps his teammate Christian Fittipaldi, who was bitterly disappointed yesterday not to have grabbed that provisional pole position? Here's a look at some of the highlights of yesterday's qualifying session. We've got another one coming up, and we will be back with live coverage here on Speed Channel. We do not have the green flag yet. No cars are on course. So stand by, and we'll be back to the great ambiance of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach in just a moment. Welcome back to the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. These beautiful overhead pictures are being brought to you courtesy of Sanyo. The Sanyo Lightship is one of the largest airships in the world, 165 feet long, 55 feet high, 46 wide. We're proud to have him with us here on Speed Channel for our coverage of Saturday qualifying for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. You see construction going on at the bottom of your picture. That has always been a part of the history of this great street race. Here's a look at this morning's practice times. Bruno Junqueira at the top of the charts. Now, earlier we heard that Cristiano Damata has been fast man all weekend, and that was the case in the morning practice till he suffered a mechanical problem and took the car early to the garage to make sure he was ready for this second qualifying session. There you see Fittipaldi third, Damata fourth quick on the weekend. Townsend Bell, top rookie, in 8th spot. Now let's get down to the pit lane and speak with the man himself. Our fast man of the morning practice is standing by with Scott Pruitt.
That's exactly right. Thanks, guys. Bruno Junqueira came out of the box this morning very, very fast. You make a lot of changes overnight. What's all transpired in the last little bit to put you on top of the charts?
Yeah, the team target did a very good job overnight. You changed some things on the car. Yesterday the car was okay, but today the car is very good. Let's hope to get a good car for qualify now.
Well, now I'm actually got the whole team here, team owner, as well as both the drivers. So tell me, Chip, have you been able to control both of these guys, or what's going on?
Well, it's a challenge, Scott, but you know, I'd like to think I get along pretty good with the drivers. We got a lot of good drivers on our team, and including Spencer and Sterling down there in NASCAR. So, you know, we like to think we all get along.
Great. And one last, Candy, how are things going so far? Were you able to find some improvements this morning, and how things look for qualifying?
We don't know yet. We thought we looked good for yesterday's qualifying, and in the end we didn't. But I think we're better today, so hopefully everything's be good.
Now, you guys going to wait around for a little bit or head out right away? What's the strategy?
Well, this is like a poker game, and you know, everyone's kind of waiting for the first half hour, and then everyone's out all at the one time, and must look pretty stupid in front of the TVs. But you know, you're trying to use the grip from other cars laying down rubber and stuff. That's why we do it.
So, do you leave that call up to the driver, or are you making that call, Chip?
Well, we'll leave it up to the driver for the most part, but in the end, we always end up making the call on the driving stand.
Great, guys. Best of luck. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks very much, gentlemen. We have gone green for this 60-minute session, but there are no engines running, no drivers in their cars. There is Paul Tracy, the new Paul Tracy, enormously fit. He's lost some weight in the off-season. Earlier this weekend, we sent our fittest announcer, Calvin Fish, out to have a look at the course with Paul.
Let's hit the road!
Paul, great to see you here at Long Beach, mate. Now, certainly seems as though you changed your fitness regime over the winter period. What sort of stuff are you doing, and why did you change?
Well, really, it's gotten so competitive now, and some of the drivers now are so small, like Damata and Kanaan, that it's last year I was carrying a lot of weight over them, and it's a huge disadvantage, and really just focused on not being so strong physically, but trying to size my body down, and I found the best way for me is cycling, is I've lost a whole lot of weight.
Paul, Long Beach certainly has its own unique set of challenges here, and it really begins down here in turn 1.
It really does. I mean, you can see how wide the track is. You can fit 4 cars wide coming down here for the start. If a guy, if you really want to take a chance and come down the inside of the wall, I mean, it's a give and take. You can slide it in here and maybe make the corner, or hit the wall, or end up in the runoff area, and that's something you don't want to do. I just kind of keep a clean line and stay off the curb here, and then, you want to get off as clean as you can, and we can see it's 4 lanes down to 1.5, basically.
Yeah, it's a critical corner. Okay, let's take a look around the rest of the track, look at some of the other corners.
Okay.
Long Beach is your typical street race, Paul. Lots of tight, twisty stuff. You got these 2 long straightaways. Down in Monterey, seemed like everyone was running maximum downforce down there. If you do run low downforce, though, Paul, does that really affect the braking? You got some pretty heavy braking zones there at Long Beach as well.
Well, anytime you take downforce off of the car, it limits the amount of braking adhesion that you're going to have. So that's always the compromise here, is you try to run as little as you can to go down the straightaway fast, but there's also a lot of time to be made up under braking. So this particular braking zone here, I mean, you see the marks that are left from a year ago. It's extremely bumpy on the brakes here, and it's real easy to go into the runoff at the end. You're kind of shaky on that bike,
I know, not too good. Coming up to the hairpin turn here. How much an effect is the traction going to have for you?
Well, I think it's going to be big because, this is always a hard corner. You come out of here at 30 miles an hour. Now with traction control, you just push your foot to the floor and let the computer do all the work. Before, when you had to really rely on traction, you had to run soft springs so that you didn't burn the tires up. Now we're running stiffer and stiffer springs, stiffer shock settings in the rear to eliminate understeer because we don't have to worry about traction anymore.
Well, mate, we appreciate your time. Good luck this weekend.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
And, first race of the weekend. I'll race you at the finish line.
All right, I'll race you.
All right.
And we thought Calvin Fish might be our fittest announcers. I don't think so after that display. But we just had a look at you making a show of Calvin Fish. But forget that for a minute. This morning, is it good? Is it average? Are you pleased? Is it a struggle?
Well, yesterday the car really didn't have a lot of grip, and we improved the car this morning. We went faster than we qualified, and I got out of the car and I felt pretty good about the time I did and looked at the sheet and we were 17th. So it's, we're struggling to get the amount of grip level that it seems that the Lolas have. So, we made a big change for this qualifying session. We're just going to roll the dice because we have to improve.
Okay, Paul, now the sunshine is out. It's hotter than ever. Is that going to make another big problem?
I don't know. It seems that, for us, we don't know because we've made a big change from yesterday and made another big change from this morning. And right now, we're not trying to be conservative because if we stay conservative, we're going to end up at the back. So we're going to try to do everything we can.
Okay, here's my technical question. Who's the chick in the red?
It's my girlfriend, Simona.
Okay, don't get too distracted. We are minutes from starting the qualifying session that will actually lay out the whole grid for tomorrow's big event here on the streets of Long Beach.
Welcome back to Southern California. I hope you were watching our Speed Channel live coverage of qualifying for the Formula One San Marino Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher grabbed the pole away from his Ferrari teammate in the final moments of the session. The race is coming your way on Sunday live, beginning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time with paddock reports from Peter Windsor and a lot more. Watch the race, and then if you miss it or if you just like to see it again, check out the encore presentation Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Speed Channel, your home for Formula One. Beautiful day here in Southern California. We are ready for final qualifying for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Let's get down to the pit lane and Calvin Fish.
Well, Max Papis is getting ready here. Max, you're the only driver in the field who has done zero testing since Mexico. It really made it a tough day for you yesterday. You had the slight off and did some damage. How frustrating is it for you when you come into an event and all the other boys are up to speed?
It's definitely frustrating, We had a pretty good run this morning. Yesterday was definitely a learning curve, but that's what it's all about, making progress. And, we are making a lot of progress with Sigma. We definitely are not starting where we want, but I'm not disappointed, Slowly we're coming together.
Problems yesterday, you had the slight off and got it back together, but you were 19th fastest today. You jumped all the way to 10th. That's 9 spots. Can you make another 9 this afternoon?
We made a bet with Ross Shiver before, and we're going to see who's going to win. I put some money on it. I think I can do it again.
Okay, mate. Best of luck. Let's get down to Scott Pruitt.
I'm down here with another guy who had a little bit of a shunt yesterday. Alex Tagliani tore the right front off his car. Got things back together. How was it this morning?
Well, we were okay. We improved our time from yesterday. We were P5 until 7 minutes to go, and then on new tires we didn't have the time to do a lap. So I think our car is good, but we're struggling a little bit more than we were doing in Mexico. And definitely the Lolas are really fast, and Players team is really working hard to make sure that we can fight with them today.
What's the biggest problem you're having with the car around here?
Well, we have really hard time on the braking over the bumps. I'm not doing a very good job on the braking compared with the way I like to brake, and it allows me just to be very slow into the corner when I'm approaching it, because every time I try a little bit deeper, then the cars jump around and I lock tires, so that's our main problem.
Well, best of luck. Derek?
Thank you, Scott. I just want to butt in here. Michael's having a chat with Eddie Jones, his engineer. Michael, I know we talked last night, and you were very hopeful that things might change a little bit. Is it still a bit of a struggle?
Yeah, a little bit. We made some more changes, and hopefully it's the right changes, but you never know.
I just asked Paul Tracy about the sunshine now. It's warmer than ever. Could that play to your favor by any chance?
I don't know. I mean, we can't go too much further backwards, so maybe it could be the other way around.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I can hear it in your voice. Let me just move around here to Mario. Mario, I've seen the look on your face so many times because you share the pain with Michael when he has a day of struggle like he had yesterday and again this morning.
Well, obviously, you'd like to see things go a little better because, that's what it's all about. But, sometimes it feels so helpless on the sidelines. But that's the way it is, in motorsports. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. I just feel that the team is so strong that they'll pull something out of the hat for sure. And, should be good in a race anyway.
So let me ask you this. Do you remember back in 1984 when you knocked me off the pole with your last lap? Do you remember that, Mario?
No, I don't.
Do you remember that I started beside you in the front row?
Actually, I do remember that. Yeah,
good.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
But you smoked.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was. Many times. Mario, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thanks.
That's right. Why should I remember? You were behind me. And while we're talking about great dynasties here at Long Beach, we should go no farther without making note of Al Unser Jr.'s terrific record, the King of Long Beach, with 6 individual victories here.
And it used to be, before the grid got so competitive and qualifying was paramount, Al Jr., if he was in the front 4 rows, you just mailed him the trophy. He was absolutely unstoppable in the race here. He was just really, really tough through and off the hairpin, and that was phenomenal. No one could beat him, and things changed. He started falling back further and further, get back 15, 16, 17, and he'd still come forward, but not all the way to the front.
Well, you've just seen the men of the moment here in Long Beach. A moment ago, Cristiano D'Amata, and that man right there, Christian Fittipaldi, you know he's going to be fired up. He wants P1. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Long Beach as Kart and Speed Channel are proud to welcome you to round 2 of the Kart FedEx Championship Series for 2002, the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Final qualifying here today, where we bring you live coverage of the race itself tomorrow on the Fox Network. Now, we've mentioned that this is the most important open-wheeled race in the country this side of the Indianapolis 500, but how important has it been in the championship? Well, over the years, and this will be the 19th running as a kart race here in Long Beach, 5 kart drivers have won this race en route to the series championship. They've done it a total of 7 times, as you see on that graphic. Juan Pablo Montoya is the only rookie to win this race, which tells you something about the difficulty of winning it, Tommy.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It's one of those places where, as a driver, early on you go as quick as you can, and then in subsequent years you don't feel like you're getting any better, but things just come more easily for you when you start winning. So the fact that Montoya, even Nigel Mansell, did not win here his first time.
Now let's go down and talk to the man who is arguably the hottest driver in the series right now. He's standing by with Calvin Fish.
Well, he's actually cutting up with his team right here. There you see his engineer, Rocky, standing by. A lot of tension on the team. But, Cristiano, you look pretty confident here this afternoon once again. Tell us about the car this morning. You were fastest, then you had to wheel it behind the wall and look at the car. I believe it was a fuel pressure problem. Everything okay now?
Yeah, everything is fixed. The car was running good this morning. Of course, we wish we could try a second set. Have tried the second set of tires in the morning. We didn't have time because of the problem, but I think everything is pretty much under control here. Car's been running good. Hopefully, everything's going to be smooth in the session. It's just a matter of timing your lap, get the tires in the right time. And
yesterday, during the provisional poll, you made the run a great time, but you still said there was some traffic out there and people are having to warm up their tires as a bit of a consideration when they're trying to get things going, and you're coming up on a hot one.
Well, that's a game you have to play. It's there for everybody. You have to try to time, you and your team try to time the right moment to go out on the track, right moment to hit on the tires, which are good only for about, they peak, they're good for about the whole stint, which is 29 laps, but they peak like on laps 3 to 6, I would say, and you have to be smart and get the lap with no traffic when between lap 3 and 6.
Well, as you can see, he's smiling, and of course he does have that front row locked in by claiming the provisional pole yesterday, so he's sleeping a little easier on Friday nights. Let's see what happens tonight, guys.
And I'll bet when he turns back to that timing screen, Calvin, he's looking at the time elapsed category. Remember, we are under green, and we're coming up on 17 minutes into this 60-minute session, and we have yet to see a driver turn a wheel.
This is really odd. You sit here, and you have to remind yourself, now it used to be 2 half-hour sessions, and you had to go out to get your times in. to get everything done. But now it's a big waiting game, and it's the double-edged sword. But all these guys, Kenny Brack said it well, it's like playing poker, and they're all gamblers, and they know the best lap is the fastest lap, but traffic is a big factor.
There's Paul Tracy mounting up. Now Tracy and his teammates, Michael Andretti and Dario Franchitti, are all headed back to the Indianapolis 500 this year. That requires some equipment. These are the shops of Team Green in Indianapolis, Indiana, and you will count nearly 24 race cars. Both. They're Lolas, Reynards. And of course, you heard the story of the Reynard Company yesterday. They are in receivership. Not sure you want to be racing with Reynard. They also have IRL machinery there, which they'll be using on Memorial Day weekend for the Indianapolis 500. We're going to have to invent a new stat for the two most important open-wheeled races in the country. Who can win the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach and the Indianapolis 500? Let's go down to the green pits with Scott Pruitt.
I just got done talking to Dario. He says, you know what? The car actually feels pretty good. Unfortunately, we just don't got the speed here. We're going to go out. We're going to give it all we got. Not really sure what to expect. We made a few little changes, but unfortunately, we're not sure if it's going to be enough or not. You see him here getting ready to get strapped in and get a good run for him. They were going to wait until about the half-hour point before they head on the track, which he's doing right now. Getting strapped in, getting ready to go. Back to you.
That's a weird phenomenon. When you come in after a practice session, you're pretty excited and you think you're going to be in good shape, and you look at the timesheets and you're way down at the bottom and you're just puzzled. And generally that relates to general overall grip. There have been times when I've gone out and said, man, we finally nailed it. You go out and you're nowhere near the top of the timesheets, and that's when you come in and really scratch your head because you don't even know what direction to point the engineers in.
Now we'll move back to Paul Tracy's car, and you are on board. In fact, you are inside Paul Tracy's helmet, if not his head. This is our driver cam, one of several new onboard cameras we're trying out this weekend here in Long Beach. I guess he didn't like the looks of that tearaway, so he removed it. And as you see, the camera will move with Paul. We'll watch his hands in action, and this view will give you a graphic example of just how violent the exercise of racing on these streets are. Welcome back on board with Paul Tracy as he gets set to begin his first hot lap of this final qualifying session. The Trans Am Series for the BF Goodrich Tires Cup opens this weekend here in Long Beach. Check out the Johnson Controls 100 Saturday the 20th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Speed Channel, and we are qualifying with Paul Tracy.
You can see his visor is a little bit cracked. Sometimes some of the guys are putting little blocks under the visor so it doesn't close all the way. The speeds are so closed with no airflow that you're breathing hard and you start fogging your own visor. Around the fountain turn. And notice how much the guys have their hands on the shifters. Other than when they go into 7th gear, there's really hardly enough time to even reach for a tear off or anything like that. It's right back to the shift knob.
Say earlier today, we have to do something dramatic. Across the start-finish line, Tracy was 9th quick yesterday. He remains there, and his first hot lap comes in at 1:11.946. He is shooting for Cristiano Damata's time of 1:09.092 to get pole. Very bumpy there in turn 5. New concrete on the run out. He's traveling down Shoreline Drive in the opposite direction and then turning onto Pine Street or Pine Avenue. Heading for the backstretch on Seaside Way. Listening for traction control.
qualifying, it's really not much of a factor. The tires have enough grip during that spike that a lot of the guys don't run it. Cristiano D'Amato did not run it at all on Friday in Monterey and switched it off for the most of the time in the race because of reliability concerns.
Track is definitely speeding up. Paul Tracy on his second hot lap goes to the top of the time charts, and he is now our provisional pole sitter, 69.062 seconds.
You're on board for almost that entire lap. It was very, very tidy. Very little wheel spin. Max has held him up.
The drivers were complaining about traffic. These are the softest compound tires Bridgestone brings to the road courses. And still, the drivers say it takes 2 good laps to get them up to temperature, and that means slow-moving traffic. There's Michael Andretti with so much work to be done if he is to start in a good position on this track where it's so difficult to pass.
And the chief steward, they've added some new teeth to the blue flag rules, where if in their estimation you impeded someone on a fast lap, they can dock you your fastest lap. And so everybody's aware of that, but when you're on cold tires, it's just hard to get out of the way.
Michael Andretti powered by a Honda engine. Honda is steadfast in their determination to leave the CART FedEx Championship Series at the end of the year before the engine formula change, but there is someone coming in to take their place. With more on that, here's Scott Pruitt.
Exactly right. MG Rover has decided to go championship auto racing. They announced this morning of a new engine relationship with CART. Now what that means is, first and foremost, it's awesome for CART to hear that we got another engine manufacturer getting involved. It is going to be branded MG X-Power, and the engine's going to be done by none other than John Judd. You know, he's been doing a lot of endurance engines, been involved heavily in all types of racing engines. So for CART and for the teams, this is an exciting announcement. Back to you.
I'll tell you, that's really interesting. If you amortize that over the number of vehicles that MG makes, it's going to the price tag of an MG unless they really start blowing them out. It's great for the series. It does 2 things. Not only is it another engine manufacturer, Toyota's position all along has been, we will not be the only manufacturer. So by getting 1 to commit, they now have 2 committing, I believe. Toyota's announcement, I would imagine, will be confirmed relatively soon.
Yes, it means I have to buy one of those sweet new MGs or Minis before the impact of the budget is felt. Well, 1 more hot lap for Paul Tracy, and he improves his provisional pole time to 69.046. 4 of his 15 laps are in the books. We'll be back. Welcome back live. High above the streets of Long Beach, California, I'm Bob Varsha, along with Tommy Kendall, Derek Daly, Calvin Fish, and Scott Pruitt. Or you can race the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. You must qualify. Second and final qualifying round going on. Here's our simple green track map. Take us around, Tommy.
Well, the front straightaway is really the key thing. How you get off the hairpin, how much downforce you're running, and how well you're able to stop at the end. All the other corners is about pointing and rotating and squirting to the next corner. See speeds of 160 there on the little squirt back to turn 6, all the way down to 57. So the story is getting off the corners, braking at the end, and how the car rotates.
Paul Tracy is currently the fast man. There you see the number of gear changes we anticipate the drivers will make over 90 laps. About 2,160 gear changes. That is a day's work.
And I commented on it before about how busy they are. When someone comes to you and says, change the mixture, change the brake bias, it's hard to find time. If you watch real closely, when do the guys even reach for the drink bottle button?
Absolutely. And it is hot out there today. Here's a look at the cars on track and the laps remaining in their allotment of 15. Paul Tracy, currently the provisional pole sitter. We are now down in the 68-second zone. 68.484 for Tracy, who simply took a slow lap to cool his Bridgestones, then went right back on them and firmed up his position at the top of the charts.
We saw that yesterday, too. Here we see the second page with some of the guys just getting started, Servia, Pappas, Fernandez, and Dixon. But the Bridgestones are pretty resilient and show...
Whoops,
as I said, it looks like the right rear on that one's down. You see, I think a chunk out of the wheel, so it's...
yeah, he hit something.
Kissed the wall on the exit of turn 1 right there.
You can see the skid marks from the upper right-hand corner. It's in turn 2.
I think he exited turn 1. He turned it in, and the wall on the exit kind of bends out at you, and he got the throttle just matted right there. He might have hit the curb. Yeah, see, he bounced off the curb. Bang. Took the bead of the rim off and
got both ends.
So this is going to be a red flag. He's going to lose. He's going to A, have to go to his backup. B, cause a red flag, lose his fastest lap of the session, and now the red flag starts ticking. Calvin, do you have more on that?
These guys are really rolling the dice. We see both the Newman Haas cars, they have not been out for a single lap yet. We're about 30 minutes into this 60-minute session, but only 45 minutes are guaranteed green. So if we saw 15 minutes of red here in the last 30, it means these boys are going to be working with a 15-minute window to run 2 sets of tires. And a lot of the boys are out there on the track running 8, which is faster than both these cars ran yesterday. So as he who blinked first, and a lot of the teams are out there, Newman Haas need to get their boys out there. They're about to go, and then we saw the red flag come out.
So time to think a little bit more about it. Paul Tracy at top, Cristiano D'Amata now in second place, and I told you it was hot. That's a trick piece of kit right there.
It's so hot he doesn't even want to put it on the steering wheel where it's made to go. He wants it a little bit closer to his face. Doesn't want to see the timing screen. He just wants air.
Well, while we're under a red flag and Patrick Carpentier and the Players Forsyth team decide whether to go to the backup car and sacrifice the qualifying laps turned in thus far, we'll take a quick break. Stand by for more live coverage of final qualifying from the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Speed Channel's live coverage of final qualifying from Long Beach is brought to you by Bridgestone Tires, advanced technology that gives you a grip on the future. Back on the streets of Long Beach, all is quiet. We are under a red flag after a spin and wall contact for Patrick Carpentier. You see the Simple Green safety crew on the scene. They're going to give him a lift back to the pits. This in turn 2. You see the skid marks on the road. We're going to go to race control now and speak with Gary Barnard, Senior Manager of Competition in the Kart FedEx Championship Series. Gary, the drivers are telling us that traffic is a bit of a problem. It's taking them time to get tires up to temperature, and as a result, you come across slower cars all the time. Is anything being done to address this?
Bob, we've given some consideration to some tire warmers, but that's an extra expense and a lot of logistical nightmares. We're looking at it really closely, and you may see it later on this season, but not in the near future.
So I imagine your position is it's the same for everybody, and that's just part of the magic of sitting on the pole?
Yes, it is, and also, I think you've already seen, a lot of these guys sat here and let about 16 minutes while away where there was no traffic at all.
Gary, Patrick Carpentier has just brought out a red flag. That means he's going to lose his best time of the day. He may have done enough damage that he has to consider going to the backup, in which case he loses all of his qualifying times. I think I know what your answer is going to be, but what would you do if you were in his shoes?
I think I'd have to take a really good look at the grid right now, see where I was, and see if I could actually help myself in the last 30 or so minutes of this session.
I agree with that. I think he'll go to the backup car. Otherwise, he's probably going to find himself back around 20th the way this track is picking up speed.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks very much, Gary. We'll see you tomorrow during the race, I'm sure.
Great, thank you.
Cars now being moved. Massive crowd on hand this weekend. Typically, about 250,000 people come through the turnstiles at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach over 3 balmy days in Southern California. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back live to Long Beach, California, 3rd largest city in the Golden State and site of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Final qualifying coming your way live here on Speed Channel. A beautiful day here in Southern California, 84 degrees, very low humidity considering the waterfront is just a few steps away from our announce booth. But look at that track temperature, 102 degrees. That's about 30 degrees warmer than we've seen. So although the track is getting faster, Tommy, it's also getting slipperier.
Yeah, that's going to be balanced, but it's still enough quicker that Paul Tracy has jumped up to P1. By race day, the track will definitely be falling off. You see Cristiano going out. You can see how slow they have to tiptoe when they're on the sticker tires. This is the problem they were talking about, the reason they're considering the tire warmers. Now, that's an added expense, but it's a one-time expense, and it also would come into play in the races. You know, some of these guys making these demon flyers out of the pits, and tragically enough, Alex Zanardi's accident was also caused partially by cold tires. So there is a pretty strong safety consideration as well for tire warmers.
You saw the view from Paul Tracy's helmet with a fan blowing on the driver. Very warm down there, and that's got to affect the drivers, does it not, Scott Pruitt?
That's exactly right. All these guys are saying how hot it is out there. That's pretty typical for Long Beach. Yesterday we saw some overcast conditions. Things are actually significantly warmer today than yesterday. I'm also sitting down here in Patrick Carpentier's pit. They have decided to go to the backup car. They're getting it together as we speak. a mad rush. Patrick just came running up. He's talking to his engineers. He actually caught a curb, and that threw the car out, and then he sidewalled it. And third, they broke a wheel.
Well, as the crew goes to work, touching the wall has been a pretty steady theme for the Players team this weekend. His teammate Alex Tagliani had one down in the big sweeper leading up to the hairpin yesterday. Let's take you down there for highlights of some of the adventurous moments down in 11.
Now, Toro the Tiger is pretty well balanced in the left-hander into the right-hander. Now, the right-hander, the hairpin, but Michel Jourdain didn't want to give up as much time to slow it down. Probably hurt him through the hairpin. Christian is probably the most balanced through here. Carrying a good bit of speed, but not too crossed up. Is still able to really get the power down coming off. Cristiano a little bit. He's using the car to rotate one way, and he gets it to rotate back the other way. I think on his best, most perfect lap, he probably wouldn't rotate the car that much.
On board now with Kenny Brack.
Look how close he gets to that left side wall.
Currently 15th, but as you saw, just getting started. 13 of his 15 allotted laps are still there in play.
Another thing the weather does, besides affecting the traction between the tires and the racetrack, it changes everything because of the air density. The hotter air is not as dense, produces less downforce over the control surfaces. The engines don't make quite as much power either.
This is the section we just showed you from yesterday. On the Shoreline Drive. Time remaining in the upper left. Less than 19 minutes to go.
That's the curb that threw Carpentier into the wall.
Boy, talk about threading the needle. Well, Christian Fittipaldi has gone around, and Bruno Junqueira has gone to the top of the time charts at a 68.419. Here's a look at what happened to Fittipaldi. Ooh, serious sideways there.
Down to 6, he got the rear brakes locked. It's hard to tell if he locked the rears or if it came on a down change, but once the rear tires started spinning, it was just like having the e-brake on, and he just kind of backed it in and ran out of room. If he had enough road, he probably could have kept going.
Calvin Fish.
Well, this is huge for Fittipaldi. I mean, unlike his teammate Cristiano is locked into that front row, so they can afford to gamble a little bit more with his car. But Christian's gone out now. He's spun. If he brings out a red, he's now going to lose his fast lap like he did down in Mexico from this session. So they've really rolled the dice, and they could come up short now. He's currently 13th, 14th on the time charts, and he's got a lot of work to do in a very short session left.
Fourth lap, provisional pole for Kenny Brack at a 68.126.
And the red flag is out, and Christian Fittipaldi is put himself in a bit of a hole again. Now, with a simple spin like that, you would wonder why can't he keep the car running and dip the clutch? A lot of the guys that are using left foot braking, he's still trying to keep the car off the wall with his left foot on the brake, and he can't get a foot over to the clutch. And so it was a pretty harmless looking spin. In the meantime, right before that red flew, Kenny Brack jumped to the top with a 68.126.
So, call an all start for everyone again. There is Fittipaldi, cursing his luck, no doubt. We'll take another quick break and come back to assess the damage to Fittipaldi's chances of pole position. Stand by for more from Long Beach. Welcome back to Long Beach. Next week, it's the next round of the FIA World Rally Championship. Daily coverage here on Speed Channel. Watch for the Cyprus Rally beginning Thursday, April 18th through Monday, April 22nd. Daily coverage at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Speed Channel. Welcome back. The green flag is now out. Here's a look at, well, you want to talk about rallies? Check out the way these cars are bouncing into turn 5, Tommy.
You heard Alex Tagliani, that's their biggest problem, and they're running soft springs to generate mechanical grip, but that is not all of it. The biggest part, perhaps, is the tire bouncing, and the reason that's a problem is that is undamped movement. You can dampen the movement of the spring, but these cars, some of it is bouncing on the tire, which cannot be controlled.
You saw Paul Tracy's car come completely off the ground at the rear there. Here's where we stand at the moment. Kenny Brack at a 68.126 is our provisional pole sitter. Cristiano Damata has improved, but not enough to top Brack. Bruno Junqueira was at the top of the charts for a while. Paul Tracy as well. Toro Takagi continues his great work this weekend in Long Beach. Mario Franchitti is getting good work done as well.
I don't quite understand this. It's 108.1, then 108.6, and 108.1, and it's the same way on the official scoring monitor. So the 108.6 is his time from yesterday. This is showing the grid rather than the time.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're all learning together, folks.
Yes, we are.
There's Townsend Bell, Southern California boy and top rookie in the series through one race this year. No, let me take that back. Of course he's not. He went off at turn 1, or at least on the first lap at Mexico. Driving for Pat Patrick. I believe he is the first full rookie, or how should I say this? The first rookie to drive a full season for Pat Patrick's team. One of the originals in the CART FedEx Championship Series. Townsend Bell won in the Dayton Indy Lights Series on these streets a year ago.
I saw one of the banners come off the barrier there exiting turn 4, and it looks like it's close to impeding on. It's off the tires and it's been drugged down the track a little bit. If one of the guys catches that, it might impede how far they can go out to the wall.
There's Cristiano D'Amato on Shoreline Drive. Derek Daly has made his way down to turn 1. Derek, he's coming to you.
Thank you, Bob. Watch it here in an effort to bring people closer than they've ever been before. We want to show you that I'm almost on the racing surface. Now, the fascinating thing about being here is you can see a driving style so different between teammates. Fittipaldi, Christian, is so smooth through here, yet his teammate Cristiano D'Amato actually hits the curb here and uses it to flip the car just a little bit sideways on a regular basis. The only man I've seen in through the flowers is one of the players' cars.
Watching Adrian Fernandez. His weekend of the season opener in Monterrey, Mexico, got off to a glorious start, picking up both qualifying championship bonus points. But all came undone in the race. He finished out of the points, so the 2 he started the race with on Sunday were the only 2 he had when the day was over. On board with Fernandez. Currently shown in 19th place. He's been switching back and forth from his primary to his spare all weekend.
They're heading, Derek was standing right there on the left.
Twitch there. It's on Pine Avenue. A little bit of a oh, jeez. Turned right toward the wall. Christian Fittipaldi back at work now, having sacrificed his fast lap of the session. Of course, he may not yet have turned. In fact, almost it's likely that he has yet to turn his fast lap of the session. So let's say he has one to give back to the officials. Calvin Fish has more on his situation.
Well, when Christian came in, they had to go to the pop-up valve and change that before he made another run here, but the work was completed. All of that is regulated by the CART officials. They can check the boost that the engine is actually receiving after the session. But also they told Christian, now you're in a hole, Christian. You have to go out and do 2 flying laps because one is going to be negated by the red flag situation. So the pressure is on Christian. We're hearing a lot of radio chatter from drivers up and down pit lane. Jimmy Vasser was extremely mad. He said, man, we need to get out earlier in this session. All I've got is traffic right now. I can't get a clear lap. So this theory about how to run these sessions may change by the time we get to the next street course, Bob.
There's no question. I'll tell you, Christian, having to give up that fast lap is like promising your firstborn. You need to get a second one before you get to keep it.
I need to make a point here. Yesterday I said that the lap record for this layout was a 107.494 by Gilles de Ferran. That was actually 2 years ago when these engines had 4 additional inches of mercury in terms of turbocharger boost, and we're making, what, Tommy, in excess of 900 horsepower. Now we're down around 800 horsepower, and here we are with Kenny Brack at 68.1, less than 1.3 seconds slower than last year's pole.
And that shows, but they gain that back. This is every year relative to, it's a good indicator when they cut the boost. The engineers haven't gained that back yet, but the gains in downforce, the gains in tires by Bridgestone helped eat away at that.
Beautiful view from high above Shoreline Drive. Crews, all they can do now is stand and wait. We'll be back with more. Here's your top 10. Welcome back. We're on the streets of Long Beach, California, and I mean literally on the streets of Long Beach, California, as you ride on the left front brake duct on Cristiano Damata's Toyota-powered Lola. He is currently the provisional pole sitter. While we were away in break, Damata jumped to the top of the charts with a lap at 67.745, and that will allow me to clear up all this business about the past couple of years. We are now within 0.3 of a second of the all-time lap record set by Gilles de Ferran 2 years ago, with maybe 100 more horsepower than what Cristiano Damata has right now.
While we're on board at the brake duct, Cristiano was trying to fly, made a mistake in turn 6 and backed off. He'll probably gather things up for another run. Jimmy Vasser has meanwhile jumped to the top. So Cristiano, I want to stay on board with Cristiano, see if he's going to try to answer back to Jimmy Vasser, who went 3 1/1000ths quicker.
Can you blink your eyes in 3/1000ths of a second?
I can.
Cristiano Damata is probably not blinking at all. Notice that the wheel and the camera turn together.
By that time, Cristiano did not bang the curb in the fountain corner.
And we've had 2 red flags in this session. One of them brought out by Patrick Carpentier. We assumed he would leap into his backup car and get out there, but apparently that's not the case. Scott Pruitt?
No, that's not. I'm standing there with Players driver Patrick Carpentier. Unfortunately, a bit of bad luck. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, we went off in the beginning, make a change in the diff. The car went really loose and hit the wall in corner 1, and this one was set up too differently to go back out, and we're going to try the same deal we did in Mexico.
So you're not going to get back out at all today?
No, we're not going to go back out today. There was too many things to transfer from the other car to this one, and we decided that to sit and try a different strategy.
Best of luck for tomorrow. Back to you guys.
Bad luck for Paul Tracy, flat right rear.
Same thing, I think he broke the wheel, so he obviously hit the wall somewhere. Did not cause a red flag, so he'll keep his spot there in 6th place. Well, unless everybody's going quicker in a hurry. Now, Vasser has still held up. Damata's last lap was a 1:08.2, so still a half second off where he needs to be if he wants to bump Vasser off the pole.
At this point, Patrick Carpentier is dead last, 20th. That's where he will start the Grand Prix tomorrow.
And you saw that debris flag, the red and orange striped flag is denoting that, letting the drivers know that banner that has come loose is in their way on the exit of that corner. It's been there enough time that the drivers know it's there, though, so the flag coming out this late makes you think, and then you get around and you say, oh, it's that thing that's been there for 5 laps. Why did they have the flag out?
This is turn 9. Fast left-hand sweeper coming up, and then the hairpin. Smooth through there.
Yeah, a little bit tighter on the exit. When you get on the brakes, the rear end wants to step out to the right. You want to not give up too much in the left, and it's still not good enough. 109.9, 2/10 off.
Less than 3 minutes remaining in the session. Jimmy Vasser remains provisional pole sitter in a town that has a great appreciation for the Southern California boy.
That is very significant because Jimmy Vasser is not known as the quick guy particularly. He's known as being very cagey, always being there. But the last couple of years, last year with Patrick and this year, showing a remarkable new turn of speed. And so when he's up front, all that racecraft only gets better. When you start up front, don't have to figure out how to get past all those guys in front of you.
Dario Franchitti has completed his 15 laps. Well, the problem is he completed more than his 15 laps. So he'll lose his fast time in this session and one of the PWR championship. No, that's Michael Andretti, I beg your pardon. Very similar paint job. In fact, there goes one of the PWR cars now.
That's exactly where Tagliani did it. You see Damata still came through there pretty quick, but that's where Tagliani did it.
We have the red and the checkers, and there is the celebration from Jimmy Vasser's crew at Team Rahal as they lock up pole position for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. So 2 incidents of misfortune for Dario Franchitti and Michael Andretti. And 1 great moment of celebration for Jimmy Vasser. His 8th career pole, his first since the Michigan race back in 1999.
According to my interpretation of the scoring.
You notice the Hans device, the head and neck restraint device that is mandatory in kart competition. In 2002, Chief Steward Wally Dallenbach over to give him a handshake, and there is another new traditions in kart. The pole sitter is given a flag to wave, and it will stay in his pit throughout the weekend. Good to see Michael out and walking away. Kidder grew up racing quarter midgets here in Southern California. Let's get down to Calvin Fish.
Big hugs down here for Jimmy Vasser. Scott Rempe comes across from Jourdain's pit box, and the boy from California pulls one out. Big hometown favorite here, Jimmy. How about that run?
You know, it's so nerve-wracking. We didn't get a run on the first set of tires, and you know, trying to time it not only with the amount of laps, but to make sure you got to be lucky to not have any cars come out in front of you. You know, car's working good, power's good. You know, finally got our first point, so like we got a good car for tomorrow.
I know on the radio you said to the team we should have got out here earlier. Is that going to change your strategy, Jimmy? The fact that everyone's rushing out at the end and getting a clear lap is important?
On the first set of tires, either you're going to go late or you're going to go early. To go in the middle is, you know, you're screwed because people didn't start coming out in front of you on cold tires. So you're better off to either go last or first. You go out right away, you got to clear track. I think in the future we might look into that.
It's been a long time since Jimmy took a pole. Michigan back in '99, but Jimmy, must have been a long month for you, mate. You came in here, you were looking at consistency and the fact that you can run for a championship, and having that first lap down in Mexico has got to be tough to live through the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, well, the good thing is there's 20 races, and you can afford a couple of those, but we're already down 1 DNF. We can't have too many more. I got to hand it to my Shell guys here. They did a great job. Michel Jourdain's doing a fantastic job too. We got good energy here in this team, and I think we're gonna have a bitchin' season.
Well, congratulations, Jimmy. It's going to be a big crowd here today. Pumping Jimmy Vasser on, looking for the hometown boy to come to the checkered flag first here in Long Beach.
And you can't help but notice all of the other drivers who came over to give him an attaboy.
Genuinely happy for Jimmy. Like I said, he's not known for being a guy who can put a blinder in qualifying. And him to start up front, these guys are going to be scratching their heads trying to figure out how to get by that shell car.
He's a former winner here in Long Beach back in his championship year of 1996. I'd say this weekend's off to a great start. Welcome back. There you see the pole sitter's car being wheeled away as we bring you back to live coverage of final qualifying for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. The electronics leader Sanyo is proud to pick you aerial pictures from the Sanyo Lightship right there. Learn more about Sanyo and the Sanyo Lightship. Go to sanyo.com. Well, while Jimmy Vasser was claiming his first pole in 3 seasons, Paul Tracy was having a problem of his own. Let's go on board with Paul Tracy's visor camera. And where you see those safety cars is where Paul had problems, Tommy.
This is where he broke the wheel, approaching the left-hander before the hairpin, right where big-time oversteer, almost has it, runs out of room, tags the rear. That's also where Michael had his trouble. This isn't traditionally a trouble spot on this course, so it'd be interesting to find out what in that corner is causing so much trouble for the guys this year. Tagliani hit the right front, but it was caused when the car jumped loose right in the first part of that corner.
Well, speaking of Michael Andretti, Derek Daly is standing by.
With the driver who I'm sure, Michael, I know, I'm sorry. It's just not a good day.
Well, no, I mean, the car was capable of going pretty good, actually. I think I could have been up in, probably 6th, 7th area, and I was just getting caught with traffic, and I never got a good, clean lap, and then it just distracted me because I didn't know if I should bail on that lap or should I, because I knew I only had one more lap, and then I just lost it because I was so caught up in wondering what I should do.
Michael, what is it about that corner down there? Because we saw many incidents. Is there a surface change that's maybe catching people out?
No, that was just me. It was lack of concentration because I was concerned on should I continue with that lap, finish that lap, or should I slow down and let the car in front of me go? So it was like, and then I just lost it. So it had nothing to do with the track.
Okay, thanks, Michael. Well, there is honesty from Michael Andretti. Calvin?
Well, Cristiano D'Amato looks at the time and screens, and Cristiano 0.003 of a second. Could you tell anything on that lap would have given you the time, or did you really not get the best run at the end?
I had traffic like everybody. The red flag at the end screwed me a little bit. I think I had a little bit more in my car. I'm happy, of course, that my car is running so well. Just a little bit disappointed because I still don't have my first pole.
Seems like this team has jinxed. It's been 53 races now. It's 52 coming in 53 since they last had a pole back in the middle of 99. But you boys are right there. I think being on the front row, that's the important factor for you tomorrow, I think.
Well, the important thing is that the car is running well. Like, starting second, of course, is not bad at all. I cannot complain about that. But it's just, it's not a good feeling when you feel that you had the car to go for pole. And I've tried, I've spent a good time of the session on pole, but it's just the way it worked at the end. I'm pretty sure we're going to be pretty strong tomorrow in the race. We got a pretty consistent race car. Pole only gives a point. The race, there's another 20, 21 tomorrow to try to gain.
He's looking for a bunch of points tomorrow, but he just picked Bruno Junqueira, who stands by with Scott Pruitt.
I'm down here with a guy who's been very fast here all weekend. Fastest guy this morning. Bruno, tell us about it. Awesome, man.
Yeah, I did a very good change for the car from yesterday. The car was really good this morning. Now I qualified third. I just couldn't get a lap. And all the red flags and my best lap, I just barely touched the wall. But I was trying.
Well, that's one thing. Last year you started not so good here, back at the back of the pack, so this should be a lot better.
Yeah, for sure, but this year I'm expecting much more. I have experience now. Team Target is doing a great job for me. Lola is doing a good car. It's a much better car this year. Toyota is still plenty of power, and I have experience. I know the tracks, and now I want to try to win more races.
Best of luck. Let's go down to Derek with Paul Tracy.
Paul, leading Team Green here, reasonably happy?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I mean, I made a mistake on my last set of tires and kind of tried to bite off a little bit more time, and it didn't work out. But we got ourselves in the ballpark. We were struggling the last couple days, and we made some big changes for qualifying, and the car's pretty good now. So there was more there, but we'll take the position.
Paul, you were one of the early runners to get out there. Did you start early enough, or are people taking too much of a gamble waiting to the end of a session?
I think people take more of a gamble waiting to the end because there's always going to be a red somewhere along the line. And I feel more comfortable when I don't have to worry about traffic, and I'd rather go out and do a baseline run and do a nice time and not have the pressure of trying to get set up for traffic and things like that. So I always seem to run well right out of the box when the track is empty, but we got to try to improve on that to get better on our second set of tires.
Paul, on the lap that you made the mistake on, do you think it might have been faster?
Yeah, we know now it was about 0.2 up to that point, so it's a few spots on the grid, but it's not. We didn't get it, so I knocked the corner off of it, so that's not going to help us. But I'm happy with the spot we have. We can win from there.
Thanks, Paul. Paul Tracy can win from anywhere, as we've seen in the past, fellas.
A two-time winner here in Long Beach. In fact, the only two-time winner in the field this year. There's Michael Andretti talking it over with the team after a very difficult day. Here's a look at the top 10, and we should point out Townsend Bell, the rookie, in 5th spot.
There was so much going on there at the end that there was wholesale changes, but Townsend Bell in 5th, first time running here in a Champ car, won the Indy Lights race last year. He has to temper his enthusiasm because it got him in trouble down in Monterey, but I know he's taking a lot of heat, but I like his attitude. Really, he's not here to run as best rookie, he's here to win the race.
You heard Paul Tracy say he knocked the right rear corner off and took the blame for it. This was the view from on board. We'll take a break and be right back. Speed Channel's live coverage of final qualifying from Long Beach is brought to you by Toyota. Get the feeling. And by FedEx, proud sponsor of the Kart FedEx Championship Series. The grid has now been set for tomorrow's Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Standing by with rookie Townsend Bell is Calvin Fish.
Well, another Southern Californian boy comes to the fore here, 5th place. It has to feel good. A great qualifying run today.
Well, thanks. It does feel good. We keep improving each session relative to the rest of the field, and the Visteon guys did a great job again just getting that car as good as we can get it for where we are in the weekend right now. And, we'll just keep chipping away at the setup and see if we can't get Toyota up on the podium. It's a Toyota race. I'd love to be up there. And, of course, I'm a hometown kid.
I hate to bring up Monterey, but do you erase thoughts of Monterey, or is it in the back of your mind when you go into your second road course event in these type of cars, Townsend?
It's just a process of learning here. I'm rookie, and I'm got to where I am by being aggressive and taking chances and putting it out there. So I don't expect that to change a whole lot. But you probably see me try to make it through the first corner.
All right, mate. Good luck tomorrow. Let's get it down to Scott. He's with Kenny Brack.
Kenny Brack sitting 4th place. What was it like out there? Were guys kind of getting in your way, or were they fairly courteous?
No, I feel the qualifying session, the format works really well. People are courteous, and we try to look out for each other, and occasionally maybe you get in the way, but very good actually. I had no problems getting clear laps.
Now the car for tomorrow, are you happy with where the target car is right now, or you need to go back and make some more changes?
Ever since we came here, we've been back and forth on settings and trying to chase the conditions a little bit, so I really don't know what the conditions are going to be for tomorrow, but I feel confident that we'll be having a car that's pretty solid for tomorrow's race.
Well, good things coming from the Target team, 3rd and 4th. Back to the booth.
I tell you, it's good to see a smile on Kenny Brack's face. I think that's the first smile we've seen this season.
Certainly the first one since that tough day in the season opener in Mexico. Here's a look at our starting grid. Jimmy Vasser and Cristiano D'Amata, a Ford and a Toyota on row 1. Then Bruno Junqueira, Kenny Brack, and Townsend Bell. Tony Kanaan, top qualifying Honda in the field. Adrian Fernandez right there as well after a very difficult weekend thus far. You heard from Paul Tracy. He can win from 8th. Christian Fittipaldi and Michel Jourdain Jr. on row 5. Alex Tagliani and Tora Takagi currently on row 6. Oriol Servia and Shinji Nakano on 7. And Michael Andretti with a lot of work to do from the 15th spot. 16th through 20th, Dario Franchitti, Mario Dominguez, Max Pappas, Scott Dixon, Patrick Carpentier, who crashed early in the session and chose to sit it out and stand on his previous time. Coming up tomorrow from Long Beach, we'll have the season opener for the Toyota Atlantic Championship, the top rung on the CART Driver Development Series. That'll be here on Speed Channel just hours after it happens, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach live on the Fox Network from 3:30 to 6 p.m. with an encore showing Monday at 8 on Speed Channel. Final thoughts, TK?
Well, it's interesting. Now we head into the race, and strategy for the race is a key thing. And I think the F word is actually going to be a factor as people come to grips with these new rules. F being fuel, because they've gotten rid of economy runs per se, but specific performance based on fuel. Guys are starting to realize they can run about 4 or 5 gallons less than a full tank. And so I think that's probably going to rear its ugly head a little bit before the season is out.
It'll be a beautiful day and a great race. Join us on Fox live at 3:30 p.m. For Tommy Kendall, Calvin Fish, Scott Pruitt, and Derek Daly. I'm Bob Lamb.